Tottenham go fourth in the English Premier League with a 5-1 victory over Newcastle United. A scintillating second-half performance from the Lily Whites from North London. Harry Kane proving again why he's one of the world's best at not even strikers or number nines, forwards. He didn't score today, but we know he can score. The passing range, the dictating of, he was a playmaker today. How many other number nines, if they're not scoring, can play make at that level in the hardest league in the world? Tottenham showing Arsenal they mean business. They go fourth. The goal difference, according to the Premier League's website, is now one better. They have that on their side. Big pressure for Arsenal tomorrow night and Mikel Arteta as they go away to a very tough Crystal Palace. The top four race is alive. The top four race is on fire. Now, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. I want that like button to be... We've got a great panel coming up today. Alan's going to be joining us. We're going to have Mo here. Jessica Black is going to be here. This is Jessie. Jessica Black is going to be here as well. We're going to share the link for you to call in and have your say. The top four races on absolute fire. Let's just get straight into this. Let's go.
Oh, absolutely magnificent.
As we say, Spurs, they sit fourth in that league table now. And I believe, I want to check, it's 3 wins on the bounce since United beat them 2-0 versus Brighton, 3-1 over West Ham, and then smashing Newcastle 5-1. And an excellent response as well today from Tottenham because they started well. And Newcastle then came into the game, scored their free kick. And it really kind of changed things. And you thought, wow, what's this Spurs team going to do? Are they going to crumble? Are they going to shy away? No. They stood up and they made themselves be counted. They look like an Antonio Conte side today. The wing-backs just marauding forward and being dangerous at all times. Aggression, desire, a never-say-die attitude. And when you have that base and foundation, which is shrouded in mentality and a positive one, the quality of the players can then shine through. Mentality, over ability every day of the week as a baseline. You then add the ability on top and you start to cook. And Spurs have ability. Do they need to improve certain areas of their team? Absolutely. But they did fantastic business in January. Bentancur, he just looks like a Premier League player. Kulusevski is sensational. And I want to highlight these two individuals because they were laughed at by rivals. We all of us kind of mocked Tottenham because they wanted Adama Traore. By the way, Kulusevski is 1,000,000 times better than Adama Traore will ever be. He's literally got 5. Look, he's created 5 goals, an abundance of big chances, nearly 2 key passes per game. He's touch, he's vision. Honestly, they've leveled up there. And of course, they were interested in bringing in Luis Diaz. I don't think Luis Diaz would be doing for Tottenham what Kulusevski is. Kulusevski is one of the signings of the season, and he only came in during January. He's sensational. He really, really is. And it just goes to show you can do good business in January. Without those two players, Spurs would not be in the position where they now sit fourth. Now, Arsenal, of course, we know this. They have 2 games in hand. They have those 2 games in hand, and one of them is tomorrow night. One of them is Chelsea. They also play one another. They haven't set the date for it yet. And honestly, I feel like the Premier League is... I feel like they're waiting maybe for a game or 2 more to go by to see where things are. But I feel like that game is... They're going to try and place that North London derby in a very pivotal moment. You know, maybe with 2 or 3 games to go, there might be a point or so separating the both of them. And then bang, they have to play each other. It will be... just gargantuan, maybe the biggest Premier League North London derby of a generation because of the trajectory of both clubs, because of where they both want to get to. If you get where I'm coming from, you know, Arsenal on their way back, of course, Conte being at Spurs and this, because he ain't going to settle for 4th next year. Like Antonio Conte won't settle for a club that only wants to come 4th. So there's a long way for them to go. But yeah, I'm excited by it because I've dropped all attention on my team for the rest of the season because what's the damn point? Jerome here says Spurs have got to go big in the summer for Conte, as we can see how he is transforming the team. We made that Newcastle team look mediocre. 5 shots, all in the net, just professional display. Look, you've still got to get rid of some Spursy elements. You had those really bad 3 or 4 games of 3 or 4 on the bounce when the old Aprils went again. But Conte has improved you. And it's because he's a world-class manager. It's the one advantage Tottenham have over Arsenal in this race. It's the major advantage, is an established, proven world-class manager. Arteta, by the way, has been excellent this year, but he's still a novice. He's still only a few years into being a manager. How he handles a run-in, no one knows yet. You can have faith in him. You can doubt him. Both are fair, but we don't know. Antonio Conte, we've seen a lot of brilliance from him in runnings, in title races over the years. He's highly successful. That's Tottenham's advantage. I think Arsenal have the more balanced squad. I do. Listen, Spurs got some fantastic players. Balance of overall squad on Arsenal's side. That's why it's such an interesting race. I also want to mention, before the panel comes out, another player today, Christian Romero. Just exceptional display from him. In the first half, I haven't checked since then, but he didn't have as much defending to do. In the first half, 5 tackles, no one made more, a brilliant clearance, and a goal-saving block from Joe Willock when he was in on goal. Christian Romero out of this world, Bentancur out of this world, Kulusevski out of this world, and Harry Kane just back to his scintillating best. And when Harry Kane plays like that, Spurs can beat anybody on their day. 5-1, hold that Arsenal and Arteta. Over to you guys. Come on, you Spurs, is what Josh Smith said. I mean, tomorrow night, by the way, Egal was backstage. A few people asking where Egal is. Egal's got the link. He was backstage. I don't know if he's going to come on or not today. Last week, Patrick said we were cooking. All of you made jokes, but look at our results. We are putting teams to the sword, playing better football than Arsenal, who win by the odd goal, is what Josh King, come on, you Spurs, has got to say. I'm gonna put that poll out there now. Give me an idea for a poll. I'm gonna have to type this out, and obviously I'm dyslexic, so I'll type slowly. But let me just type this out. Who is playing the better football? Who is playing the better football? All right, let's stick it in. We're gonna put Arsenal as the first option, alphabetical. That's all. Tottenham. Who is playing the better football? That poll's out now. That poll is there in the live comment section. I'm waiting for Alan to arrive. Then I'm going to bring the panel out. It's a nice mix. 2 Spurs, 2 Arsenal. Bit of a neutral in there in Mo. I say neutral. He obviously loves Antonio Conte because he's an Inter fan. Leaf says, obviously Spurs. I know you'll say that, but I'm putting the poll out there. 51% right now voting Arsenal. 51% of voting Arsenal. Eddie here says 7th. Yeah, I'm very aware my team is 7th. I had to go at them yesterday, but I have a job to talk about other teams as well, my guys. So it'd be very weird for me to sit here and make this about Man United. That would be very much main syndrome character, and I have more self-pride than to do that to myself. So keep your banter for a show that's about Man United, my friend, and I'll certainly take it from you. But today is not the day. We're talking Tottenham. We're talking Arsenal. We're talking the top 4 race. Those are on the agenda. Lee said, how Arsenal? How is that possible? Listen, that's what the vote says. What you ask? Vote, bruv. I said this before. Share the link with your Spurs friends. Get them to come vote. Come on now. Don't blame me. Where is he? Egal is backstage. I can tell you that he is backstage. He's backstage. He's going to come on and have his say. I'm pretty sure he's going to be nice to Spurs today. I get that feeling. I got a feeling, as they would say. As who used to sing that song? Was it Black Eyed Peas? Or was it Will I Am? I know that they're kind of the same, but there's a slight difference. But there we go. There we go. Spurs are better from a Liverpool fan. Okay, I thought I read that as Spurs are better than Liverpool. I was like, that's strange. But you're saying from a Liverpool fan, you're saying Spurs are better. Amari says, come on, you Spurs. Very happy there. Big up, lads. Josh King facts is what he said there. See, I read that as Josh effing King. See, that's what dyslexia does because of the word fact with the F and then the King bit. See, that's what it does. It kind of confuses it. It hurts my head. It does. Trying to explain dyslexia is also difficult. Who is playing the best football? Man United. Come on. What, you guys dead banter? We're not talking United today. Slow it down. Hold it down. Spurs 18-2 goal differential in the last 6 matches. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. Actually, that can't be true. You conceded 3 against United. That can't quite be true. Are you discounting the Man United game? Because that can't be true otherwise. But your run's still very, very good indeed. Right, it's going to be panel time now, people. Alan's here, Ryan's here, Mo's here, Jess is here, Igal is with us as well. Oh, Jerome here. What you said here? Not gonna lie, they are both playing well, but Arsenal are more consistent. That's from Spurs fan Jerome there. Spurs fan Jerome. Terry, am I still hanging? I wasn't hanging, brother. I'm all right. Got a decent night's sleep. Leg day at the gym today. Taught my daughter to ride a bike. It's been a good day. She's almost got it. Almost. Typical, right? She's riding a little pink bike, a little frillies on, having a good time. And Jackson was just picking up sticks and throwing stones at my car. That was it. That was my morning. Is it brute, my son? But I do like it. I do like it. Right, panel time, people. Let's get this mother on the road. Let's do it. Welcome back, everyone. How you all doing?
All good.
Yeah.
Spurs fans looking happy?
Good performance. The second half, actually. Second half was good. First half wasn't that great. But, yeah.
Seems a little bit subdued considering you just smashed someone 5-1. What's wrong with you both?
No, I'm all good.
Are you trying not to get trolled for over celebrating here? What is this?
No, I just praise a good second half performance. First half wasn't that good. We're in fourth at the moment, but the pressure's on Arsenal. They have to go and deliver. If they do, and they handle the pressure for such a young team and manager, fair play to them. If they bottle it after the talking about 6 points ahead with a game in hand as well, when you were about 3 games ago, then you're going to hold it. I'm going to come for you, but at the moment, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it was a very good second half performance. I know there's lots of players to talk about, but Harry Kane in the second half, the level of, I don't even know how to explain it, but the way he dictated play, the way he just controlled every element of your attack was just out of this world.
Yeah, he's got that in abundance. That's what I think. We didn't see much of that until Mourinho. I think Mourinho had a big impact in helping him show that a lot more than what he did. But ever since then, he's got the goals and he can do that on the pitch. So he's a massive asset to have, as long as it doesn't take away from him. Scoring as many goals as he could possibly do, then that's fine. But it was good to see some of our Deadwood actually putting in the performance and scoring. Emerson Royal, Doherty, Bergwijn.
Yeah, I mean, they did. You're stepping up, Ryan. From your point of view, I mean, the last 3 matches, you've really laid a marker down to Arsenal to say, look, we're here, we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, we have, but that's why me and Alan don't get ahead of ourselves. We're Tottenham fans. We can't get too ahead of ourselves. We know obviously away to Villa next. You never know what. I mean, it could either be the first half against Newcastle today or the second half. We're just not. We've finally found a bit of consistency. We're just not consistent enough. That's the biggest problem with this team. Now, if they can keep it going with the games we've got, we should realistically win these games. Like Villas, who ain't got anything to play for, we should, but it's too hard being a Tottenham fan. You can't go full throttle because you know it will bite you in the arse and come back and haunt you. But you can't complain today. 5-1. Nice to see the Newcastle fans complaining and moaning and arguing about the Bentancur supposed red card and all that nonsense. But we'll see what happens against Villa now.
Yeah, roll on to the next game. And I want to speak about Bentancur and Kulusevski a little bit later on the show because I think they've been sensational signings. Jess, from your point of view, of course, you're hoping for a Newcastle masterclass today, dropping of points. But how good, in your opinion, were Tottenham today, and have they looked to you in the last 2 or 3 games?
Yeah, I think they look really, really good. Unlike Patrick, I will give Spurs their due when they deserve it. And I do think that this is exactly what Arsenal fans did not want to see happen. We knew that well, I knew at any point in the season, one of our rivals could get hot. And it just happens to be Tottenham under Conte. And it's just, I want to be fair. Unlike, I feel like it's difficult to be fair because we're rivals. But when we play well and everybody says, well, the other team just didn't play good and they just didn't defend well. And if they had done this and that, then they would have, no. Newcastle had no answers really for Spurs, and they were very organized in defense, where I think that's been maybe the weak point in Spurs before was the defense. Romero was trying to find his feet. Dyer wasn't there, even though I know a lot of us don't rate Dyer for Spurs. He's one of their best center backs. And so now that they're more resilient defensively, and Newcastle was finding it very difficult to create open chances, on the other end, they can just do whatever they want. And so they're playing against all these teams that don't really have anything to fight for. They're playing a lot of these games at home, and our schedule is significantly harder. And so it does worry me a little bit. Now Conte is a world-class manager, like you guys have already said. That's definitely the differentiating factor. I think both teams still have gaps in the squad, but when you have that world-class manager, you have that ability to know what to do at the right moments. And so, yeah, this is not, you always want to be the team that says, okay, we did our business. Now, what do you have? What can you do? And that's exactly what Spurs has done. We'll see if our team can live up to the pressure. But yeah, I think Spurs actually look really good. And if you guys didn't have that hiccup in the middle of the season, I wonder where you guys would be. And I'm sure that Spurs fans are probably thinking that same thing. If you guys were playing like this the majority of the season, where would you be with Harry Kane, with Son playing this way, with Romero? I mean,
if they had just done the right thing and brought Antonio Conte in from the start of the season, I'm not saying they wouldn't be in the title.
They tried to get him though.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. But he pulled away because they didn't give him assurances. If Spurs would have bought him in from day one, I don't think they'd be in a title race, but they'd be certified top 4 because they're or thereabouts after contact, like halfway. They just would be. They would be, in my opinion. Gal, how about yourself, mate? Like, obviously, I know you have kind of guaranteed top 4 for Arsenal. You speak about Spurs being.
Patrick for Tottenham.
I know, but I'm talking to you, bro. I'm talking to you because you're here. I get that. I'm asking you now. Like, do you still look at this Spurs team and as good as they've looked, do you still think they're going to crumble?
First things first. Let me give them credit. 5 out of their last 6 games. What's that noise? 5 out of their last 6 games, they did very well, and they've won those 5 games. And this is the first time in this whole season where they've gone 3 games on the bounce in the Premier League. So shout out to them for actually getting some level of consistency. That's what we've been wondering. I think it's going to come down to 2 things. I think it's going to come down to if they can continue this level of consistency throughout the rest of the season, and if they do beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, that North London Derby game now means more than anything when it comes to who's going to get top 4. And it could come down to that one game. But in my opinion, Tottenham deserves credit for their consistency. Can they keep it up? That's a question only they can answer. Antonio Conte is a top manager. They have two of the best players in Premier League history, apparently the best duo in Premier League history, in Kane and Son when it comes to statistics, right? So it's on them. The onus is on them to try to continue this run. And the pressure is not only on Arsenal, it's on Tottenham also, because I do think win, lose, or draw our game, pressure is still going to be on each team to perform week in, week out. That's my point.
Yeah, it most certainly will be. And we're going to come back onto the top 4 race a little later. I wanted to speak about some of one of the big incidents today. I did see Newcastle fans saying, I tweet about every red card decision just to see what people think. Often triggers people. People don't like questions anymore. Honestly, I keep doing this, but I do blame the mums and dads. You've made very weak Generation X, whatever they're called. They're very weak when questions are triggering. It's crazy. But I'll go to you first, Mo. Bentancur, he did push his head in. This is a still shot, but he definitely pushed his head in. A red card, or did a yellow suffice in your opinion?
It has been given as a red card before, to be honest. I've seen it given a red card the last 3 years in the Premier League. They said if 2 players go head to head and one of them pushes his head into towards the other one, they give it as a red card. I've seen it before many, many times in this league. I have no idea why it hasn't been given. I only have one explanation for it, is when Joelinton came in and pushed the guy. Maybe they looked at the VAR and it balanced it, because you can't just come in and push a player to the ground. It's again, it's off the ball. There is no, the ball is not being played and the game has stopped. I think it's the only reason they didn't give this as a red card. And also because Alan Saint-Maximin as well went with his head to Bentancur. But I've seen it given before. Should it have been a red card? I don't know, because it is, Joelinton could have gotten a red as well. It balanced each other out, but I've seen it given before, and this is honesty. It has been given before.
This is not why Tottenham won the game, in my opinion. But if you look at that actual situation by itself solely, you compare it to situations in the past, referees in the Premier League do not have any consistency. Similar situation, Nicolas Pepe against Leeds. We know what happened. He got sent off. Today, with Bentancur, should have been the same thing. Either send him off, have the level of consistency, or going back, looking back at what you've done, let us know if you've changed the rules or you've changed the situation over the past couple of years, because there's no difference between what happened today and what happened with Leeds and Pepe, in my opinion.
But again, we're coming out of the Premier League game, and the referee is one of the points that we talk about, which is something that shows how inconsistent the referees has been over the last year or two. This is a great game by Spurs, but now we're coming out all, and then there's a lot of tweets about, should have been a red. Was it gonna change the game? It was 1-1 at that point. What was gonna happen if Bentancur was sent out because he was one of the best players on the field? We don't want to see this, but there is no solution for it, because they're just inconsistent. All of them, the people in the VAR room and the people on the ground, and just it's very inconsistent that we don't want to have that, but we have to live with it. It's kind of strange to me that
it's too easy to get a red card now. I just think we're seeing too many instances that just feel like red cards because we've seen it before. I just feel like when I look at that situation, how many times do we see guys go head to head? And that's just what they do in those weird situations where they're just, I think Bentancur gets away with it just because like there were other people kind of involved. And with the Pepe one, it was literally Pepe and Alioski isolated away from other people where it didn't make any sense to put your head up against somebody. You know what I mean? But it's too easy to get a red card these days. I'm looking at that and I had forgotten about it until you guys brought it up right now. Like, to be honest, because if it takes away from the game, if everything that you do can be considered a red. And like, I don't think what he did could have really hurt Saint-Maximin. He didn't butt him in the head. They put their heads together. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it feels like a very small incident that becomes bigger because we've seen reds given before. But I think the issue is that there are too many little things that can become reds. To me, that's not a red card. Like, it's just not. But because it's been given before, now we're talking about it, even though I still think the situations are slightly different.
So for me, I agree with Agal to an extent. Obviously, you've seen him given before, but as Jess said, it weren't a head forward. It was more like a flick to the left, or I think he kind of like shrugged away. I've seen instances where that have been sent off. That's fine. But I've also seen a couple of instances of recent weeks where those kind of things have been yellow each side and go on your merry way. So when that happened, I was sitting there thinking, is that a red or is it yellow? And it turned out to be yellow. And I thought it was a fair decision considering everything else that went on. So yeah, I don't think it was as aggressive as people are making it out to be. Like he done a Zidane to him. It was a bit, people going over the top. But yeah, I think yellow both ways, and especially for the push as well. I don't think a push should really lead to a red card as well.
I think it helped him. I really think it helped. Is again, I've seen them given, but it's the fact that Saint-Maximin stood up. If he holds his face and goes down holding his face, that's where I think he got away with it. Not that it was terrible. Again, I don't actually think a bit of a headbutt, a punch. I actually think I've got a weird thing on football. I would introduce it as an element of the game. I'm not saying knocking someone's spark out, but I'm sick to my back teeth of footballers thinking they're hard and pushing each other and getting it. Like, it should almost be a little bit of fisticuffs. It should just be right. You're both not getting sent off. It's part of the game, right? Like, I'm talking like your head's getting pushed
hockey. Like hockey.
Didn't
the two yellows calm everything down as well? Like, the two yellows calmed everybody down. Obviously, they went into the tunnel and there was still some little stuff, but it was over after that. That's how you handle the situation. I just think it's too easy now to skew the game, because when you're watching 10v11, it's just not the same game anymore.
No,
So the threshold for a red card has got to be higher. And it wasn't serious foul play. Like I didn't see it as that. I thought 2 yellows was fine.
No, I totally agree. And as I say, I'm all for a bit of that. If I see a player grab one by the face or by the neck, for me, I don't think any of those things are red cards. If you punch someone full pelt in the face or as a Dan headbutt, yes, violent conduct. But these are competitive people. Like sometimes it gets heated. They grab each other a bit. So what? Keep 11v11 on the football pitch. Keep the football, the football, especially when they're both in each other's faces. You get one guy grabs a shirt, the other guy grabs a neck. Neither actually wants the opponent sent off. That's why I actually get more annoyed at the idiots that fall over and hold their face. They should be banned because that's still simulation, like in the end of the day. But yeah, look, I'm glad a red card wasn't given, although, I think we, as we've said, we've seen them given before. But the consistency thing with referees is key. We saw a penalty given to Liverpool yesterday, which was a foul. It got rugby tackled to the ground. But in this game today, there was a corner that Spurs took early on, and as it was taken, referee blew his whistle and had a go at them all for pulling each other a shirt. When you watch it back, there was a Newcastle player holding a Spurs player around the waist, not looking at the ball. But today, what the referee decided to do was blow the whistle and have the corner retaken, even though he saw that same foul that Liverpool got a penalty for. That's the only element of this where I'm frustrated. They did the right thing with Bentancur today. But there's going to be a game this following weekend where the same thing happens and they're going to send someone off. And that's more my concern than the rule itself. Either you send them all off or no one gets a red card, or whatever it may be.
Can I say one thing, though, Terry?
Yeah, of course you can.
All of a sudden, Tottenham are now in good form. Everyone in their team looks great. Let's be honest. If they do face any adversity, that's when we'll know where they actually lie. Because they've faced a lot of adversity up until this point of the season, and to turn it around to get into this position, get themselves back into a top 4 race after their manager seemed like he was about to quit, is pretty cool. It's pretty good. Like, I'm not even gonna banter you guys on that. But my main point is, when it gets tough, you guys don't tend to win trophies. When it gets tough, you guys don't tend to get over the line. When it gets tough, you guys tend to have this thing where you bottle it. So aren't you worried that Spurs gene is going to come back in and you're going to do that again?
In recent years with trophies, yeah, but in the league, not really, because we've not bottled against you for 6 years. So if that's what you're trying to get at in regards to against you. You're the ones who haven't been near us.
No, understand that you guys don't do well in cup competitions, and this is basically the last 10 games is now going to be basically every single game is going to be like a cup final for you guys to get into this top 4 race.
Well, I can't speak for Alan. I can't speak. I'm terrified. Every game, I'm terrified. This is how it. Like I've said it already. It depends what Tottenham turn up. I mean, that first half the players they looked like they just landed off the international break this morning. Just rocked up to the stadium, got there. Second half, turned up. Obviously, Newcastle aren't a great team, but that's just Tottenham. That's our problem being a Tottenham fan. Go up against Villa, we could either dominate, come away 3-4-0 up, or lose a game 2-0, 2-1. Every game is a cup final. Miguel, you're absolutely right, and we know perfectly well.
But you know what though? Like, even like this is where I think being fair comes into play, because as an Arsenal fan, we're used to being called bottlers and we can't get anything over the line and we can't handle pressure. But as an Arsenal fan, we would say what? Different team, different manager, playing different vibes, blah, blah, blah. I think Spurs are well within their right to feel like now that they have a world-class manager that they could probably get it over the line as well. And this is the league and not Tottenham's issue is the trophy thing, not making top 4. They've been very good and consistent at getting top 4 over the last, 10 years or whatever. So I do think that this is something where looking at the rest of their schedule, having those players in their team, they are going to be looking at it like this is something that they can do. It really is the pressure is on them, but I really can't help but feel like the pressure is really on Arsenal because we're the ones who haven't made top 4 in how long? This is what we're fighting for. It's not trophies. If this was a FA Cup final, I'd back us 100%. But in terms of getting to the top 4, even though I feel like this is a different team, I feel like this might be the beginning of a different Spurs. And I'm okay with accepting that for them. Just like I feel like people should accept that reality for us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree with you. And I think that you look at that moment you brought up, Igal, and you're right. where Spurs started well in the league under Conte, and then they had that wobble period. Was it 3 or 4 games on the bounce that you lost?
3.
And 3, and then there was a few performances after that, and you had Antonio Conte talking about, I don't know. Essentially, it sounded like he was saying, I don't know if it's the right place for me. I don't know if I can make them turn the corner. And it feels like the players have listened. It feels like there's been a response to that, which is what you want. And that's one of the things about Antonio Conte. His man management ability. He's so inept. He's so, what's the word I'm looking for here? Brilliant at getting players to run through brick walls for him, to buy into what he's trying to do. He reminds me of Jose Mourinho from 10, 15 years ago, where people would just say, no matter what the style was, no matter what your role in the team was, like, all right, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep running, and I'm going to achieve for you. He just has this ability of making people around him better. And of course, there's holes in your squad that need to be addressed, but he knows how to improve things. And 2 of the players I really wanted to speak about, well, I want to speak about Christian Romero a bit later as well, because I think he's been very underrated this year. But your 2 new signings in Bentancur and Kulusevski, I've already tweeted today. I think Kulusevski, for me, has been a better signing than Luis Diaz. Could have been for you. Liverpool fans on him, love him. Cool, he's been brilliant for you. But Kulusevski, the reason I'm talking about him is you lot were mocked for signing him. Who is he? What's he going to do? He's a Serie A reject. He looks, so far, the real deal in the Premier League.
Yeah, completely. I mean, like today, full of running. You know, he looks awkward when he runs, but he looks very powerful as well. It's just really weird to describe. But yeah, always running, putting the effort in. He's strong on the ball. He can put balls in on his right. He's not afraid to get down the ball and put a ball in, like a clip cross, or go in on the left-hand side. Yeah, I mean, we got him from Serie, and everyone was saying, "Oh, he was a Juventus flop. What have Spurs done and all this, that, and the other," and literally getting mocked for it. I think even Mo as well said he did all right in his first season, and then after that he was awful, and everyone was getting rid of him. And he's come to the Premier League, and he looks like a different player. For me, probably one of the best signings in January, but maybe even better than Luis Diaz. Although Luis Diaz has done well for Liverpool, can't deny that, but compared to what they were coming in for and what people were expecting of them, Kulusevski's punching well above what everyone thought he was going to do.
In Parma, they were a counter-attacking team, small team in Serie A. So he thrived. He played amazing. He tore teams apart. In Antonio Conte's system, which is something that we saw this first half, they when Newcastle had 2 low blocks against each other, you guys could not penetrate them. You couldn't create. And that's when Kulusevski has been with Juventus over the last 2 years. Juventus are a team in Serie A. They're the biggest team in Serie A. So they have the ball most of the time. This is why he did not do anything with them. And they're like, this guy does not fit our system. This guy does not fit how we want to play. But now he's coming to Tottenham. Antonio Conte knew exactly how to utilize this guy in the counter. How many times I've seen Kulusevski on the right side, the furthest guy in a counter attack with Harry Kane and some behind him. And this is why a great manager like Antonio Conte can turn a player that doesn't fit a system in maybe the biggest club in one of the leagues into one of the best players on the counter on this the Premier League now. This is why we're seeing someone like Kulusevski, like this guy on the counter. He's lethal, right? But this is Antonio Conte's system, and he's utilizing his skills, his technicalities. He plays with both feet, and he has been great. Bentancur is the same. You put him against someone like Højbjerg, who does all the dirty work next to him, and then Bentancur touches the ball many, many times, gets the ball from the defense, and doing that here and there, like tackling, distributing the ball. In Juventus, he was asked to do Højbjerg's job. This is why they were like, okay, you're not good enough for us. We need someone else. And this is why they got Zakaria to do that next to Locatelli. Antonio Conte is a guy that can get a player like Doherty and make him score goals every other week or something. Antonio Conte can utilize players like this guy, Kulusevski, like Romero. Now, he has been one of the best center backs in the last 2 months in the Premier League because of the system, the tactics, everything that this guy does. Antonio Conte turns players into double their value. Basically, Kulusevski came for 40 million. Try to sell him. If you try to sell this guy in a year, double his value right away.
I couldn't agree with you more. And that's to my point. So that's to my point. So I'll go to you next thing. That's to my point. Luis Diaz is amazing. And I've waxed lyrical about the impact he's had at Liverpool. but I think hindsight's a lucrative commodity. I really think because of the style of football, which is very much absorb and counter at Tottenham under Antonio Conte, I think Kulusevski is going to turn out to be a better signing for Spurs than if they'd have signed Luis Diaz. I just think it just looks like a match made in heaven. It really does.
You want to know what's a match made in heaven? Tottenham's recent run of games. If you look at the teams that they've been playing and the way they've been setting up perfectly against the Man Cities, Leeds, teams that are open. Everton, a team that is absolutely shambolic. Brighton, a team that we know is attacking and likes to hold on to possession. West Ham, obviously, they're not one of those teams, but this Newcastle team, as much as we know Newcastle in the past for being a team that parks the bus, this is not a Newcastle team that parks the bus. They went 4-3-3 against them today, and they tried to go toe-to-toe with them. They don't have the quality to do that. So when we look at what's going on at Tottenham and how Kulusevski and these guys are playing, the last couple of games is not the beyond end all. The real test now is when they face Aston Villa, when they face Brentford, when they go up against Leicester and Liverpool. Those are going to be the real test. I feel like these teams that they've been playing. No.
I think that's really going to change.
I want to say one thing really quickly. You put this in my head again, and I've not thought about this until you just said it. There is a propensity now and a pressure from fans to play open, attacking, expansive football. Everybody demands it because it's what's fashionable. Everybody wants the good-looking, and I'm not talking aesthetically pleasing to look at, oh, he's hot. I mean good-looking techie ballers, and everybody wants to play the same way. What that will create is the ability for a team to be built by someone like Antonio Conte. He could exploit the league next year. Because you just name those teams, Brentford, you just name Leicester, you just name somebody else. They all open up an attack. All of them are open and expansive teams. And it's because the Premier League has gone down this route now where Burnley are a harder team for Tottenham because they don't do it. But most teams now open up an attack. For someone like Antonio Conte, I wouldn't be surprised if over the next few months and over the summer, he looks at it and is like, listen, 14 to 15 of the teams in this league open up and play expansively. I just need a better midfield, slightly better defenders so that we can absorb more. And then Kulusevski, Son, Kane, and maybe one additional player added on the counter-attack. They could do what Leicester did a few years ago, but with a higher quality squad. I know they had Mahrez and Kante in the squad, but overall, like I'm talking, they also had Reece Morgan and Hoof at the back. This could actually play into Tottenham's hands long term because everybody wants to play one way, and what that can create is an opportunity for a different style to come in and go, right, we're going to batter you.
Like the Leicester team, but I hear you. But let me just say this though. The reason why I say that is if you look at the teams that I gave you, the examples that I gave you of those teams, they tend to be more the teams that open up. If they go up against Aston Villa and Aston Villa put the low block against Tottenham, I want to see how they break them down. If they go up against Brentford, similar thing. I want to see how they break them down. When they go up against Liverpool, I think they're just going to lose regardless. And Burnley being one of the last couple games of the season doesn't benefit them because Burnley are one of the most rugged, like tough teams that just go try to lock down that put that double forwards and then with the two strikers and try to break them. You have to break those teams down. So it's going to be interesting for Tottenham. Now
You're missing two results. Like, let's go for the Everton result. We're 5-0. They just sat back and defended, and we tore him apart. He played really well in that game.
No,
and you're saying, hold on. Let me.
Everton tried to attack. Lampard tried to attack.
In bits. They didn't go all guns blazing.
No, but the reality is as soon as they get a little bit of pressure to come out and do something, they get punished. Yeah. And then once you get punished once, you continue to get punished. I think we're trying to find something where there's really nothing there yet. We'll see what Spurs become next season. But I'm looking at their schedule now. And until they play Liverpool, they don't play a single team that has anything to play for.
What about the relegation side?
Brentford.
What about the relegation
Brentford kind of has something to play for, but they're almost safe. They're almost safe. Leicester, they're going to be focusing on Europa Conference League. Brighton, nothing to play for. Aston Villa, nothing really to play for. So for me, in just the short term, they're in a really good position to get all those points. And we're not in that same position. And what I will say is that they're going to put that North London derby on May 12th. That's what it's looking like. And that's, I think after you guys play Liverpool and after we play Leeds. So it's in a better position, I think, for us than it is for you guys. But knowing Tottenham,
Unless
could
Tottenham
they
get
get
the
something
result.
from Liverpool?
Yeah.
You know, like if
Yeah,
they get
yeah.
something from Liverpool. So I mean, it's
When do
I
Arsenal
get
play
it.
Are we
but-
ruling out that
Sorry,
Liverpool might
guys,
lose to
sorry,
Tottenham?
one sec. When do Arsenal play Chelsea?
The 20th of April.
Okay, because that's also a massive game in this top 4 running, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
again, if they ever get a day like they had yesterday and you beat them, the cat amongst that pigeons again in a big way. However, you lose that game, and again, maybe the confidence at Tottenham raises up another level. But I think that North London derby is going to be fire, absolute fire. I mean, there's payback for earlier on in the season. There's the top 4 race, and listen, I don't want to be overly hyperbolic, but for Tottenham, I feel like if you can get top 4, Conte being the manager and the character he is, it's huge for you because you can attack different kinds of talent. You've got Champions League to play in. Honestly, it's going to be amazing to watch. We have a super chat here. Hello, everyone. What are your score predictions for the biggest match in world football? I don't know what that is. And also the aim of elite sport is to effing win, not to be third loser. Arsenal to Arsenal fans here. Also, catch me on Jamie Phillips' channel soon. Big up yourself, sir. Yeah, look, listen, we all obviously know. I know you're a big fan of Ligue 1. Of course, it's about winning, but you've got to get to the winning. And I think Spurs and Arsenal making it back into the Champions League is a step in that direction and needs to be celebrated and needs to be congratulated.
And if you don't sell, like if the only time you can celebrate or care is if you're gonna win the Premier League, then nobody should be doing anything. That's just not the way fans work. You have to just take your little wins. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. Like, if you're not winning the Premier League, you failed. I get that. But like, then what's the point of being a fan? What's the point of the other 19 teams there? There's no point.
100%. I want to ask about Christian Romero as well, because he had a fantastic game today. Kind of been scrutinized a little bit by people at times this season, but it's starting to look like the absolute real deal.
It's the purple patch, but I'm gonna head
All right, bro.
He's quality. He is. Do you know what? The only problem as Tottenham fans, I say, when me and Alan talk on a Friday night, the only problem we have with him is he's got such a hot head. He don't know when to back out. I mean, I think he put a challenge on St. Maximin within the first minute of that game today that gave him a dangerous free kick. But we want that. We need that in players at Tottenham. We haven't had that recently of a player who's going to put his body on the line. He wants to win every challenge. He wants to win every header. But not only that, he actually moves. He actually gets the ball and moves the team up the field as well. He doesn't go side to side. He doesn't go back to Lloris. I mean, I think within the first 10 minutes, he probably spent more time in the Newcastle's defensive box than Harry Kane did once he'd moved the ball forward, and he's gone. He's not waiting for anybody. He's getting in the box, waiting for the cross. The only problem we've got with him at the minute is he's just a red card waiting to happen. When he goes in for I think if he was in Bentancur's position today, he would have been sent off. He would have done something a lot dafter than Bentancur did. But right now, I'm happy that it's an obligation to buy. We need him next season. We could build the defense around him next season and hopefully go from there. Replace, obviously, I know he got a goal today, Ben Davis, but he's a squad player. He's not a first team. He'll be a good squad player for the team. Replace Ben Davis, get someone in to challenge Eric Dyer, because Eric Dyer's hot and cold. And you never know. You've got to have Romero. I at the minute, I probably in the Premier League, I'd probably only rate Van Dijk, Rudiger, and Varane. I know Varane's. He's not had a great season, but he's a quality defender. No one can ever tell me Varane's not a quality defender. He is world class.
I have no opinion on anything to do with that club right now. All shit. All of them. Shit. All of them.
You can just look, when you look at Spurs and the defenders and everything like that, like in today's game, sometimes the defending from Dyer, Romero and all that was just like really panicky. And as soon as Romero got in there, he calmed things down. Great blocks, great tackles, read the game well. He just you can see the difference in class between him and the other defenders. Yeah, he's missed quite a bit of the season through injury, but when he has played, I think he's only got better. I'm liking the fact, like the type of player he is, where he's like not afraid to, ruffle a few feathers and cause problems for strikers or any player like that. And hopefully, once he's got that reputation, next season he'll calm down a bit, just so it puts players off to, so that as soon as they know, oh, we're playing Spurs, Romero is going to give me a tough time, just to put that into them, like before they play us. Because apart from Alderweireld and Vertonghen in defence, who were classier, like in the fact that they just defended, they didn't do all this. Our other defenders over the years have just been like, yeah, come in and have a shot on goal, come in and score a goal. We've just let the teams in. Well, I'm hoping this is, especially with him as a centre back, like the predominant centre back, and building the defence around him. That will be very hard for teams to come and do that in the coming seasons.
The only problem with Christian Romero is that he's a back three player, and if Antonio Conte doesn't stay and you get another manager, and you have an obligation to buy. It's the same as all the players that come under Antonio Conte and play three in the back. It's just, as we saw, Terry talked about Rudiger yesterday in his show about that Chelsea playing back four and how Rudiger looked and how Thiago Silva at his age looked. This is just something that people need to look. Yes, Christian Romero is a great signing. He's one of the best defenders in a back three and probably in the world. And under a manager like Antonio Conte. But if you move to back four, the guy has not played back three for like 5 years. He's playing under Gasperini in Atalanta, back three in the last 2-3 years. This is the only thing about a back three defenders, is that they're only good in that system, especially if they play years in that system. I'm not sure what you guys say about that.
Well, if that is the case, then it just goes to prove that obviously first of all we need to keep to a back three, because if he can't play, I won't be one of these and say I knew everything about him. If he can't play back four, that's a problem, because to be honest, sometimes Eric Dyer can't play back four, so it's only going to be like really bad for us next season. If especially with other fan bases have been towards Spurs, oh, you've got like 10 or 11 championship players, this, that, and the other, like Hassan says once and all that. Oh, we shouldn't be nowhere near. To be where we are with all this apparently bad squad, we must be doing really well, which shows that if Conte does get top four, you need to back him with what he's done with that team so far. Like I said, four of them players who scored today, I think most Spurs fans want rid of. If they don't, then that's for them. But if to get that level of performance out of a Spurs squad that is nowhere near as good as what it has been, you need to throw money at the man. You need to give him what he wants, and you can only progress.
I still get rid of Emerson Royal. I'll still get rid of Emerson.
Oh,
Royal.
yeah, no, I want them all gone. All the ones that not Son, but all the others I want gone. But yeah.
What are you saying, Jay? Because I know that you watch a lot more international football than I do. I'm sure you're aware of Romero last year in Serie A. Quite a few people in the comments are saying actually that he plays in a back four for Argentina.
For Argentina,
they want Copa America. Like, how impressive? I know again, it's getting you to praise a Spurs player maybe here, but how impressive have you been with the growth of Romero over the course of this season?
I mean, it's annoying. Like, anytime your rivals get a player, you want them to be horrendous. And yeah, it's been fun, like watching some of the signings not be good, but then some of them have been okay, and Romero definitely needs better players around him. I think he's kind of like a version of, and like, this is not to say that they're exactly the same, because I don't want to go flying off the handle, but I think he's your version of Gabriel, and you need to get a Ben White next to him. Like, you need to get a ball playing center back with him, because he's more of that aggressor. And so once you get that balance, because Dyer's not it, like he's being elevated because Romero's so good. They're all right, but you probably need somebody else there. I think, yeah, it'll be fine. Like, Romero is still young, I think, as well. Like, what is he, 24? Like, he's not very old.
24?
23?
Yeah.
24? Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good base to build from. And so, yeah, I was hoping that it would be terrible, and it's not. So, like, good for you. Like, clap, clap, clap. But, yeah, I would calm down just a little bit on, like, he's right underneath Van Dijk and all this. Calm down. Like, he's only been playing this well for, like, the little streak that you guys have had. Just relax. Let's wait a couple seasons. But he's been pretty good. Can't lie.
So, Jess, are you saying that Gabriel is not at the level of like Luis Diaz? And like, is he not like a level probably at Luis Diaz, Gabriel, for your club, Arsenal?
What do you mean? Like, I think Gabriel
like you said Romero is not a level below Van Dijk. He's not. So
no, I do think I think he's a couple of levels below. Like, I think, well, Well, okay, of course, I love my players, so I think they're better than the Spurs players. Like I do. Like I think Gabriel and Ben White are better than Romero. Like I mean, they've been
Oh
playing
my.
better longer. They've
Oh
been
my
playing
God.
better longer, and so yeah,
No.
yeah, I think so.
Oh, man.
But again, but I would equally say that like I don't put Ben White and Gabriel over any of the center backs that have been consistently playing at that level for years on years on years. Like I think it's disrespectful to just keep Thiago Silva out of this conversation as well. Like he's been one of the best center backs in Europe for like 10 years. So Thiago Silva, Rudiger is obviously better. They play in back threes. I don't think that really matters that much when we're talking about the best. And then you have Van Dijk, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, like all these players are better because they've been doing it for longer. But Romero is definitely somebody that if he had come to Arsenal, I would have thought, yeah, he's really good. So I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not.
I hear that. Look, I agree with a lot of what's being said. I feel as well like I look at what Klopp does with a lot of players he buys, and he slowly bleeds them into his team. Pep's done that on occasions too. Spurs haven't had that luxury to kind of bleed him in, and it is a different league to Serie A. It is faster, and not in terms of people sprint faster, the speed of play. And I think there's been times where he's been caught out by that, and it made him look poorer than he is, and he's learning, when to do it, when not. In terms of taking the fire out of his belly, I don't wish to sound overly controversial, but a lot of Argentinian players in my lifetime have had that almost identical fire in their belly from, the likes of Carlos Tevez and Gabriel Heinz at Man United had it in abundance. We had Rojo that wasn't very good, but he had it. Like there is a thing, Argentinian players have that. And I love it, to be fair. I think it's great. I think it's something you don't want to, you want to sort of,
Lamella was exactly the same, weren't he? Literally, Lamella always liked to shit out people on the pitch.
Yeah, just got that about them. It's a characteristic. He looks great. And on Antonio Conte, I've been sitting and looking at the maths on this. So if you look at his win ratio and the points that he's won since he's been at Spurs, if that same win ratio and points total would have started at the beginning of the season, you'd be on around 60 to 62 points, give or take, which would actually put you in front of Chelsea right now. So I think, like we were saying, and imagine if he'd had a pre-season as well and signed the players he wanted in the summer, maybe even better. And I think that's what you've got to look forward to, I think, next year. There's no way next season, with a full pre-season, good transfer window, that you're 30 games in, you're going to have lost 10 of them. I just can't see that being the case next year with an Antonio Conte team.
They're going to win the league. They're going to win the league.
Clip it. I think he's right.
There we go. Can you imagine? Listen, I mean, the thing is with Antonio Conte, though, this is what I like about him as a manager. He will look at it, though, and go, right, that's what City and Liverpool and Chelsea are doing. But what do I need to create a team that can win it? And that's why when I was talking earlier about, I look at where all the teams play now. City, I'm going to name them one by one. City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. I can't put Man United in that right now. We don't know what we're going to do next year. But we get Ten Hag, will be one. Wolves do, Leicester do, Villa do, Southampton do, Palace now do, Brighton do, Brentford do, Newcastle will under Eddie Howe, Leeds definitely do. Forget Everton. You start looking at their teams. They all play open football. They all try to attack. They all try and do it the quote unquote right way that Generation X wants. That any other style needs to be outlawed. I think Antonio Conte is going to try and do something. I think he's going to try and create a system that is almost going to be like kryptonite to 70-80% of these Premier League sides now that all want to play the same way as one another. And if you work out, because they all play very similarly, if you work out a way to beat them, that will just have a knock-on effect.
That's what Leicester did so well.
They did. And Leicester, of course, they had Vardy on fire. They had N'Golo Conte, one of the best midfielders in Premier League history. We didn't know it at the time, but he turned out to be. We had Mahrez. The rest of that squad wasn't exactly amazing. They weren't. Mark Albrighton, Huth, Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Yeah, they did it. If you could add, as you say, someone next to another fullback, somebody next to Romero, another midfielder, and then one more bit of potency up top, keep Kane. I'm not saying you'll win the league, but you could do something very good in you could do something good in the league, because what I like is that your club is not trying to do what everybody else is. Everybody else is trying to. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's just I'm a bit like that in life in general. Like if something's really popular to watch a certain TV show, I just won't watch it out of principle because I'm not a sheep. I quite like that you guys are not trying to be like sheep and all play the same way. And it all just becomes very boring. Like I want a few teams to play a different style of football and mix it up a little bit, and maybe that's what Conte will do. Maybe that's what he'll do. I don't know. But listen, he's doing bits right now, and I think Spurs might have to become my second team. I don't know.
We're not going to touch about Harry Kane being the best striker ever. We're not going to say Harry Kane has been the best striker. He won man of the match without scoring, I guess, today.
Harry Kane, I think, if you think of number 9, pure out-and-out number 9s, if you discount... So would you class Henry as an out-and-out number 9, would we?
He's a number 9.
No. Harry Kane is, overall as a football player, Harry Kane's been the best the Premier League's had. Because I can't think of listen, Robbie Fowler, Alan Shearer, Michael Owen, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Ian Wright, all these, they're all deadly, but none of them could pass and play make like Harry Kane.
Only Wayne Rooney. That's the only one.
Wayne Rooney, but then I wouldn't call him a 9. Like he for me was a second striker. Again, out and out number 9. Rooney wouldn't be that, but Harry Kane can do is almost as good at dropping deep as Wayne Rooney was, if that makes sense. Plus, he is twice as prolific in front of goal. He's just out of this world. He really. Someone says Lukaku.
There was a stat on Sky Sports. I only saw it briefly, but since the turn of the year, and for me, like obviously, I'm still a critic of him until he does it for the rest of the season, maybe gets us top 4. But since the turn of the year 2022, he's ranked first in goals, assists, chances created, and if or other stats, I think there was 5 or 6 where he's ranked first and equal first in Premier League.
If Antonio Conte gets Lukaku next to him next year.
Lukaku and Kane could work. Aguero, sorry, I missed Aguero's name off. Aguero would probably be the best, but Kane. I think Kane's breathing down his neck. The one thing Kane doesn't have is the trophies next to it. He hasn't done that. And I know it's harder when you're at Tottenham compared to City, but Kane's just ridiculous. But then could Aguero pass and create like Kane does from deep?
No.
Didn't.
No.
With respect. But
no.
Class.
He was a quality finisher, Aguero. He's probably... His finishing I'd probably put above Kane's, but his all-round play I would not put above Kane at all.
Comment here says Crystal Palace will destroy Woolwich Arsenal tomorrow 3. They're not going to win 3. Palace are not winning 3-0. That is not happening. But thank you for the super chat. It'd be a mega night if it did, but I doubt it.
So for me, like in recent weeks, Arsenal played first and they've been able to do their business and then sit back and relax. This is the first time. I mean, if we'd have lost today, then it would have been just like, and I know you guys love a free hit. It would have been a free hit for you guys this weekend. But we've won, and now the pressure for the first time in a crucial part of the season is actually on you guys to deliver. Like I said, if you do, and you win this game and all that, then for me, you are favourites for top 4. But considering we know as Spurs fans, the young team under Poch, when it came to the critical time with a young team, young manager, we buckled under pressure. So this is your biggest test for some time, like for the last 3 or 4 months for me in the league. Not even bigger than what the Man City game was because, the pressure was off you there. But now the pressure is on. So I'll be, happy to see how I'm looking forward to hopefully you guys slipping up. But I will give you credit if you do decide to put on a performance and beat Palace away from home because normally you don't do very well there as well. So, yeah, it'll be good to see.
Yeah, there's been a lot of places that we don't normally do well at this season that we have. Like, again, I still think that I've given you guys a lot of praise because you guys deserve it. I still think we're a lot better than we used to be. And so I back us to win the game tomorrow. Like, I think we're going to win it, to be honest. I don't think it'll be a 5-1, 5-0 drubbing type situation. We'll probably win it by 1 goal. Newsflash, it doesn't matter how many goals you win by. Well, unless it gets down to goal difference and stuff like that. But I've seen that around as well. Like, Arsenal are only beating teams by 1 goal. It's because our defense is so good. So it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I think we're going to still win the game. It's going to be pressurized. I do agree that, like, this is a different scenario where we've been first, now we're last. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I hear you. Azad here says Romero plays in a back 4 for Argentina. Also note he was the main player in Argentina's winning the Copa America in relation to that. I have a few people in the comments were saying that as well. Thank you for that super chat. Another one here from the City fan who says, what's he saying? Hang on. No modern defenders are better because they can't do. Sorry, are modern defenders better because they can do more? Again, more than what? Like, I think you have to look at it. Football has evolved, playing out from the back's a thing now. I don't think as a general rule, defenders can defend as well now as they used to. That's what I would say, which is, again, right now it's fine because the style of football is set a certain way. When it all changes again, and this is what the kids will find out, and I mean this is in a nice way. When football evolves again,
Old man Terry.
no, it's not about, I'm 36. The point I'm making is, like, in another, say, 10 years, some young fans are now like, they don't remember the last time the game had a seismic shift in styles. So they look at it now, and that will change. And you'll see some of your ballers from now who you think are the best. They'll look so out of place and outdated, and you'll be sitting there going, no, but it's different now. You'll get there, Aiden. Brentford beat Chelsea 4-1 yesterday. Anything can happen. That is true. That is true, to be fair.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Kane is a Spanish player. I've always said that.
That's a very nice comment, actually.
I like, yeah. If Liverpool have any sense that they will sell Salah and Bobby this summer and replace him with Rafinha and Kane, there is a window of opportunity to sign Kane this summer, in my opinion, with City looking at Haaland. I mean, like, Harry Kane would destroy things at Liverpool. He would. He would. But I don't think they'll do it. But A-Spec, thank you very much for that super chat. And everyone that's tuned in, a big thank you to all of you. Please smash the like button before you leave. Ryan and Alan, congratulations. Mo, always a pleasure. Igal, less salty than normal on the Tottenham stream, which is great. And Jet, thank you for joining us for a match reaction show. It means a great deal. Back tomorrow with more content. The top six is back earlier on in the afternoon, around 3 p.m. We're going live because, of course, build up to the Arsenal game. And also, I don't have childcare at 5 o'clock, and I've got to pick the kids up from the nursery. So I've had to change the times because I can't just sit them in the room watching TV, eating while I work. That's a bit bad, isn't it? And I've never done that before, ever. But there we go. Listen, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you.